Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, Mr. A.D. Walker, and I have my co-host here again, Miss Samantha Walker. So we appreciate you guys being here this morning, and hanging out with us. Closer, there like that. All right. So I appreciate you guys being here, rocking with us, hanging with us. Make sure you share. This is your opportunity to share. Sharing is caring. Tag somebody that should be a part of this conversation, because I know a lot of people need to be a part of this conversation. Because today, as you can see, the topic is: does money have too much of our focus? Does money have too much of our focus? And is it too much of a goal? Is it so much, does it accomplish your life so much that it's what you focus on most of the time? And I get situations happen, but have we cornered our lives? Hey, blessings, Lisa. Thank you for rocking with us and sharing. Have we totally surrounded ourselves or our minds with the goal of always trying to whether get that bag or make that money? So it's important that we have this conversation just to kind of bring some clarity into what are we really focusing on? What has the bulk of our time? What is our minds always thinking about? Waking up to thinking about bills and what you owe and who you owe. Can be very debilitating because it keeps you from growing, being creative, stressing you out. It's hard to sometimes move forward and do things when your mind is always stuck on trying to make money. And if we get too focused on making money, then it's hard to focus on anything else. All right, so we're going to kind of dig into that today. And I'm here with my co-host once again, Samantha Walker, in the building. So we're going to have an amazing show. I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, this is your opportunity to share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Make sure, hey, Mama Corey in the building. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And if you feel like you keep just getting this notification and you're not sure how to know when we're on, join our community. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. And never miss a broadcast, from Sisters of Legacy to Purpose for Forever and to Brothers of Legacy.
A lot of us.
A lot of us. So, hang tight. Hold on. We'll be right back right after this. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. You needed something? You good? Okay. So welcome back. All right. So like I said, the topic today is: does money have too much of our focus? Yesterday we talked about getting in the box. How do we get stuck? Going into adulthood, getting stuck in the box that our parents have gotten into. And getting into that circle or that life of just working, coming home, working, coming home, where it's kind of like the rat race. It's kind of like we sign up for it, and why, though it's sometimes not the best, why did we choose it? And it's funny, I was talking to Ephraim and he was saying, it's what you've seen, it's what you've used to seeing. You've seen your family do it, you've seen your parents do it, you've seen other people do it, kind of get into the habit of, you leave school, you go to school, get a job, and you build a career, and that's kind of been the rat race. And some of our focus or some of our goals sometimes are money focused, our amount. Like, I'm trying to get to 100,000. I want to be a millionaire by 30. And, it becomes sometimes a money race as opposed to a purposed race, as to a goal or an impact or things of that nature. So today I just want to kind of talk about, are we too focused on money? And where did money become such a focus in our life? You said
men.
You said men?
Yeah, I think it's your fault. It's absolutely men's fault that we have become so focused on money.
Okay. Elaborate.
Because, back in the day, right?
Okay, all right.
Women stayed home, they took care of the house,
right.
They raised the kids.
Right.
When women realized that men were using money as a weapon, then it forced us to feel like, well, I'll go make my own so that you don't get to control me and tell me what to do and, hold it over my head that I'm the breadwinner, I make all the money, my rules, my house. Right. So I feel like men force women to have to go out into the world and now, get jobs and work and, chase the money because we wanted to be liberated. We wanted to feel free.
Okay.
And as long as we weren't bringing in an income, there was no freedom attached. Now, of course, that has got on steroids, from when it initially started, right. Women wanting to feel free. Now it's to I just need more and more of it. Right. It's become kind of like a drug. The more money I have, for some people, the better they feel.
Right.
So it's, the more money I can make, the better I feel about taking care of my house or taking care of my kids.
Right.
But I think it absolutely started with men. I think men made it, to some degree, made money ugly.
Okay.
And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
So would you say then it would it be on us to pull the throttle back and lead?
You can't put the genie back in the box.
I can't put it back.
Once the genie is out, it's like
I can't show you a life of freedom that's not money focused, and maybe you guys will kind of follow behind us.
You absolutely could show your wife,
right,
a life that's not, money focused, or where she feels like, money is a thing you use to control her. But as far as that being unanimous across the board, I really think the genie has left the bottle, and I don't think women want to go back to that time, of being housewives or whatever else, it is, because they attach that stuff, with having to rely and depend and be controlled by a man. That's that's what you hear now. Can't nobody tell me what to do. Can't no man tell me what to do. I make my own money.
Right.
Because they attach money to that student.
That's interesting.
Prove me wrong. I'm neck rolling.
Your neck rolling early in the morning. But I think I get what you're saying. I do understand that. But I don't know, as a push or a movement, to try to bring back, more focused on not just getting the back, because the crazy part is we know that just chasing money constantly is unhealthy.
Do we know that though?
I don't know. I guess people don't, or they don't. Maybe people don't really realize it. Because you're going all the time. You're at work all the time. Even.
But did you cut the lights on? Is there food in the refrigerator?
Right. But there's no love in the house.
I can't be home.
Right.
And make money, right? Because isn't that the argument that men have previously made?
Right.
I gotta work.
Right.
You want to drive that car, you want to buy them shoes and that weave, I gotta go to work.
Right.
So again, men using money as a weapon has caused this phenomenon, or men just not being there.
Right.
Having babies, starting a family with a woman, and then now you gone.
And you feel like the shopping and that's like a compensation for
I didn't say that.
us not being there.
No, I'm saying, a man not being in the house, like
Right.
you have a single mother,
Right.
I gotta go to work now.
Right.
I gotta work, and then I become comfortable working and being independent and taking care of me and my children. And even though I may eventually get with another man or eventually get married, this is my life. This is how I've set up my life, to work
Right.
and take care of me and my kids. So you're an addition, but, and this is going to hurt a little bit, y'all, women have gotten to a place where y'all are not a necessity. Well, that's how it's viewed. Like,
Right.
men aren't a necessity. A husband and a man is not a necessity.
Right.
Whereas back in the day,
Right.
That was the natural progression of things.
Right.
You get older, you get married, you have a husband, you take care of a house, and you have kids. That was like all a woman's life was.
Right.
But now we're like, oh, I like shiny things too. Some women, we've started adding things to our own lives. And work and money and chasing after money and pursuing, our dreams and desires has all become part of that. You don't got to keep shaking your head, say something.
Well, what I'm saying is like, how do we start to throttle that back? Hey, good morning. How do we start pulling that back? How do we start? Because I think it, yes, this lifestyle has been a detriment to our community. And yes, men have led the charge in working, because, the needs grow. We get the bigger house, so we get more things. And is it, did we feel like, especially as Black men, you watched, you always get the stigmatism of, white rich neighborhoods, Black poor neighborhoods. And it's like, as a Black man, you're like, well, I want to be a rich Black man, in a good neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So you go to work and you get the promotions and you do things. You're not home, because you're trying to live a lifestyle that you've seen, not realizing, like we constantly use the word where it says counting up the cost, not knowing the level of sacrifice it takes to live this lifestyle. And is it really worth it? Is it, in the end, is it really worth it? At the expense of your family, because then I'm hustling. Now you out hustling, because we're really trying to build this lifestyle. And then our family's suffering because, the kids are getting some of our time. Of course, we got money. So we're putting them, when they're at those certain ages, we're putting them places where they can be watched and taken care of while we're out building a lifestyle. But like, when do we come home? When we try to retire, to kids or a family that we don't really know, and then we wonder why they're off course or who taught you that? I was over, remember when you sent me to that school, this is what they talk about, and so we've lost, our focus on our family. We lost our focus on our community because we've gotten so money centric,
Absolutely.
So how do we bring it back? How do we pull back on that? Like, and it's a mindset change, obviously. We have to see things differently. I guess the question is like, how do you pull it back? How do we go back? Huh? Oh, so yeah. Oh, how do you go back to what we were, as a unit, where we are building in our homes more instead of focus on chasing the bag? Like, promotions are great, but like, what's the sacrifice for the promotion? Yeah, you got an extra zero on your account, but like, what are you losing in your family? What are you losing in your community? And what do we do? How do we pull it back?
Well, I think just like men led us down this road, like men have to stand up in their families. Right. Like you said, y'all don't just stand out, just stand up.
Right.
Men, I feel like that would be a good start for men to start moving differently. Like, you know, when you move differently,
Yeah.
that causes our whole household to move differently.
Right.
I feel like when the men and their families start moving differently, it causes the families to shift. I mean, it's not going to be an overnight process because
Right.
let's be honest,
Right.
we didn't get here overnight. I mean, think
Right.
about it. When we were in high school, you know, there was some of our parents that worked, but like moms, you know, they were home at night
Right.
for the most part,
Right.
unless you had a single mom,
Yes.
and then she wasn't home. But
Right.
like a 2-parent household, a lot of times your parents, or at least one of them,
Yeah.
you know, was
Was
home
home
for
at night.
dinner
Right.
and stuff like that. I
Right.
think so. You know, where it was a process to get here,
Right.
where both parents are totally chasing it, one going to the left and one going to the right. I think it's a process to go back. But I think realization, you know, that come to Jesus movement
Right.
is where everything changes. Like when people really do that self-evaluation and think about, like you said, count up the cost. What, like in the grand scheme of things, in 5 years,
Yeah.
what will this look like?
Right.
I think, you know, that's where the importance of communication, I was going to say communication, communication, you know, within families come into play.
Right.
Communication within men, like when you hanging out, you know, with the guys or whatever y'all do,
Right.
you know, that's when these conversations need to come up.
Right.
And men need to talk, you know, when it's like, man, I've been working so much, and there's somebody say, man, when the last time you took your wife to dinner?
Right.
Well, when's the last time you took your wife to breakfast? Man, I work. I mean, she know we. I ain't got time to be telling her work, take her to breakfast. And somebody saying, man, you know, you
Right.
gotta do better. Like I think
We got to start checking each other on that.
right. It's a process,
Right.
but we have to first
Right.
feel like what we're doing is either A, not working,
Right.
or B, can be done a better way.
Right. Yeah. Because and you know, like I think the work thing, because you know there had been this stigmatism about, you know, like going back, as a black man and not working, you ain't got no job. So it's like it's kind of like we got a job. I'm working. You know, I'm working. I'm doing the man thing. I'm working. I'm providing. You know, and you know, like I said before, you know, we're more than just providers. You know,
Absolutely.
and somehow we got stuck in this space that just provide and that's enough. Just provide and that's enough. Be there. Hey, I'm home. I'm in the house. You know, like is that enough? You know, because we have to be more than just providers. We're leaders. You know, how we're leaders and we're not leading. You know, and we've left a lot to our wives to do a lot of that
Right.
that heavy lifting. And we talked about like the school thing. The schools don't know men because we're not there. You know, we're hardly there, and that's kind of like how our brother's legacy was really kicked up a notch. You know, just noticing that we're not present in school, we're not present in the community. You know, we lost our spaces in churches. You know, like
Right.
we come in, it's, you know, it's more women.
The women
Yeah.
are the
Other than
pastors.
when you look up to the
Women
toward the pulpit,
bishops.
right, you start,
It's a lot.
yeah, you know, so we kind of gave up our spot because we
Right.
was that work.
You walked away from it.
We
You
did.
dropped the ball. And
did.
so,
We did.
just like with the money thing, women have picked it up
Right,
and start making it happen.
that's true. That's true. I always, you know, the prayer rooms is just women. You know, men should be praying too.
Men don't pray.
Right.
I mean, joke. Little joke.
But listen, I know guys that have, and I've talked about praying with your family, and they like gave me the deer in headlights. Like, dude, just
The
it's-
family, I'm at work. You got to,
but
y'all
you
got
know,
to pray by yourself.
not just that, but they're not used to doing. I'm like, dude, there's no real wrong way to do prayer. Like, just what you want for your family. Pray. You're asking God, and you're touching, and you're showing your kids that God is your focus. Like, so we got to get back into our homes. We got to get back into their lives, you know, and ask the question, right? So wherever you're at in your work or your pursuit or your career, you know, when the next level opens up, is it really worth it? You know, I talked to Sam about some time ago, like years ago, when I got a promotion. Though it was like huge, it was great, but it took me out of my house. Like I was going way longer.
All the time.
I couldn't go to church
And I
anymore.
had 2 babies.
Yeah, couldn't go to church anymore.
Babies.
Right, but I was providing, you know, but it wasn't
Didn't understand why I was upset.
right. Everything was crashing, but I was focused
But
on
he's making more money.
I'm making more money. I mean, because we weren't in the best place financially, nor were we in the best place relationally. So like I was destroying both because I was still chasing, trying to make, because in the end, I still wasn't really making enough. So was it really worth it? And what opportunity might have opened up had I just stayed in place? Because honestly, we were getting, I'm gonna give you the boot camp counseling from our pastor and Lady Jackson. Like they were like, what's going on? What's happening? Where we at? And at first it was tough, but we was kind of starting to make a little bit.
It was tough.
Yes, yeah, it was. It was tough answering them questions, being accountable.
Right.
It was tough. And I started working more, so I lost that connection.
So he didn't have to answer no questions.
Right. Well, that too. That too. Listen, it was a rough time. It was some serious exposure. That's why being here has helped me. Like I'm a lot more open than I used to be. I'm a lot more accountable. I got my pastor. We have conversations. So there's a lot more accountability, and our relationship has gotten better.
Absolutely. Because
I took my eye off the money ball, and I began to bring it back into my home, and it's changed a lot of things. A lot of things. A lot. So, I just wanted to talk about that today because having that revelation, realizing like, man, we are just so set up to chase money. We're so set up to chase careers, and we're missing, you wonder why there's destruction in our community, because some of the strongest men are just stuck at work.
Because nobody's there.
Right. Nobody's there.
Now the men are gone.
Right.
There's no leadership and no correction.
Right.
And now the women are gone. There's no nurturing and guidance.
Right.
So the community, like the elder women and the elder men, and elder, I don't mean like the 60s and 70s, because that's just your grandparents. I'm talking about, like our age, like everybody our age, we get together with the couples, they running.
Right.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, like, there was time where we was just, we still be running too. So like, we all running, we all raising kids. But, now you got a half of the couples, they got college students.
Right.
So now they like running.
Right.
And I get it, but everybody's running. Right. Everybody's running and the house is on fire.
Right. Right.
And so our communities are left unattended. Our children are unintentionally are kind of left unattended. Like, I can go in a store, there's kids, teenagers, maybe, even sometimes younger, and they'll be cussing up a storm. Right. And I be thinking, who is your mamas? Right. And back in the day, yes, I'm old, because I feel old every time I say that. But there was a time, even if you cussed between the time you walked out your house, and you got back to your house, because back then our parents didn't go for that cussing. Right. If you saw an adult, you immediately stopped. There was some level of respect, even if you didn't know it, even if it was just, I didn't want this to get back to my parents. Right. Like, those are little things that happened in our community. We respected our elders. We, just simple things. Right. That your parents, those lessons aren't being taught. Because there's nobody. I ain't got time. I said, boy, you better respect me. Right. I'm on my way to work.
Right.
And I was playing South. I can remember yelling at my son while I'm on my way out the door about something with school. Right. And then, 2 weeks later, say, didn't I tell you? Right. Why didn't you do it? I didn't check. Yeah. I wasn't there to make sure that he did it. I said do it on the way to work. Yeah. Nobody's at the helm. Right. It's a free for all. Yeah.
It is. I think, and that's the way we've lost. That's where we're at. So I want you guys to really think about this. Good morning. Good morning, Keita. I really want you guys to think about this. I want you to share this. I want you to tag somebody, because it's a real conversation. Because it's a wrestle. It's hard, because I know if you're in the midst of a struggle, it's like, I need this money. But then if you think about it, why are you in that space. Like, what did you buy that has gotten you in this space? How much are you living off of as opposed to where you're living, how much you renting? Like, did you really need that extra bedroom?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yes, you do.
Did you really need all of that?
Yes.
Did you need that extra car? Did you really need that Lexus?
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's exactly why women went out and started working, because men wanted to keep us in the box. You don't need more than 3 pair of shoes. Maybe I want 7 pair of shoes. So I'm gonna get me a job so that I can get the shoes I want.
Right.
Oh, you don't need all them clothes in the closet. Well, I want a lot of clothes. So
he said, still show me how to tag some money on you.
So I get a job so that I can have more clothes. Or we don't need a bigger house. We got two kids and 3 bedrooms. And every time my mom want to come, you want me to put Junior on the couch or put, so she can sleep in Junior's room. Maybe I want the extra bedroom. So I'm going to work and I'm just saying, like, those, like, simple stuff like that is really some of the push, I feel, to why women have gone outside of the house. Because one, a lot of times the relationships are not on the same page.
True.
We not all have the same focus.
Right. That's
you focused on, we don't need no more because I don't want to work no harder. And she's focused on, we need to progress. We need to move forward.
Right.
We need, every time I come out, there's a kid right here.
Right.
We need more space. Like, it's the simple thing.
Right.
But because men had everything in the chokehold, I'm not getting no bigger house. It's going to cost more money. Well, I'm going to go to work, and now here's an extra paycheck. Now can we get a bigger house? Now can I stop driving this 20-year-old car and get another car?
Right. So, let's see. She said, sometimes what makes sense to us do not make sense to them. The extra room is for guests.
Right.
Right. So going back, I guess we're going to have that conversation. So it's having the conversation of what's our goal, right? We have a vision, we have a purpose. What are we trying to achieve? So it's like Bishop was saying last night, like casting your vision. So we discussed, this is our goal. This is what we're trying to achieve. Right. So at least we're on the same page. Right. So how do we get there?
Okay, since we're bringing up Bishop, like we said last night, a lot of times women see things further down the road.
That's true.
Like, a man's like, look, we in this 2-bedroom apartment. Right. We only got 1 kid.
Right. We
good.
Right.
This rent, I make it. Right. We don't need nothing else. Right.
I get you. So
it's like
so that's the impasse, right? So now we're both working, but how long, right? What is our goal? What is our financial goal? So now we're both chasing the bag, and now we're not at home like we should be, or not building our homes up like we should be. I'm doing overtime. She's working a job, and then maybe I pick up another job to help us get to a certain space.
Like Jamaicans?
Right.
I love you, kid. Don't put that on the screen.
They can see it. They got to see it. So my thing is, like, when we talked about when we watch our parents, right? Mm-hmm. And then we somehow mimic and think this is how we should live. Instead of that, when either at the wedding, after the wedding, like, okay, boom, what is our goal? What is it we're trying to achieve?
Before you get to a wedding, though, like, I think that's part of the problem.
Right.
A lot of things we don't know to ask.
Right.
Going into it. And now this generation, like I said, has become so on autopilot that even if you're 20 and you're about to get married and a couple like us that's in our 40s, you feel like, oh, y'all don't know nothing. Right. We just don't jump in because everybody's on autopilot. Right. Like, we don't think about talking to older people or people that have been married 20 years as opposed to you just getting married. Like, the value, we don't value the right things, which is even with money. We value money wrong.
Right.
Like, we value money over people. Yes. We value money, like, boy, I kept the lights on the whole time you was a kid. Right. but Dad, you only said 5 words to me,
right.
Until I moved out. Well, because I ain't take care of you no more.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's simple things, and it may sound funny, but
Yeah.
like that's the reality of a lot of families.
Right.
And yeah, things have gotten out of alignment. We've all to some degree gotten out of alignment.
Right.
And how do you put it back? It starts with a conversation. It starts with a thought, a conversation, and then creating a plan to put those words into action.
Right.
But you gotta realize there's a need for it.
Yeah, because you got to have that conversation. Because I think you feel like you're always trying to catch up. First, you're catching up, and then we're trying to progress. So, like, I got the one job to pay for now. Then I got the second job to pay for later. So I'm saving. Like, I'm taking that second paycheck. But I'm saying that's how. And then,
I was just
and then unfortunately, when we get the new space, can my one job pay for my new space, or do I need to keep 2 jobs in order to maintain our lifestyle? And we have the conversations of how do we get to this amount? How do we get to this amount without losing our family? What can we build? What can we get into? So instead of saving the money to buy this house, we save the money to start this business, which will help pay for our lifestyle, and then it's a business we agree upon. Like, we have to walk in agreement of it, because I can get crazy and wild and excited. Like, that's over there. That's that's the thing that's going to work. That right there is going to get us to the house, and then she's like, I don't want to do, I'm not interested in that. And I try to drag her along, and then I get mad because she's not interested when she told me she wasn't interested before I made the investment.
And I just say, like, I think we all have to kind of, when you look at things now, if you're a person that's really attentive to the temperament of the world or the temperament of finances or things that's just going on, I think by now people should have realized, like, a job ain't nothing but work. And I don't mean like quit your job. I don't mean like jobs are unimportant. But I mean, you could work for a company for 40 years and all you did was work. Right. Now, I don't even know if they do pensions anymore. Right. I know they used to do it when we were, but I don't even know if they do pensions. So then you retire and you got your Social Security. Right. And let's just be honest, Social Security comes from the government. You can tell yourself you earned it, but now you're living off the government. Right. And we all know what that means. Right. That is never going to be enough. Right. So you can work for 40 years, get up, get your Social Security. It's never going to be enough. Right. So I feel like, we have to get to a point where we kind of make our money work for us. Right. And that might be, again, and I know people are like, what? Yes. You have to start investing in things. Maybe not stock market. Maybe you ain't you're like me, it's a lot of numbers, a lot of confusion, too many people with their hands in my pocket. Right. Ain't really for me. You do whatever, okay. But invest in some of the local businesses. Right. There's always businesses and people wanting to start things, looking for an investment. And maybe you I ain't got extra money to invest. Maybe you can invest some time in business. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that 9 to 5, punch a clock, whatever, for 50 years, that is not, by the time it's over, going to bring you the reward you're looking for. Right. And then you've missed 50 years of your family. You've missed 50 years of your own life. Right. Honestly, we just turned this age, and I've been looking back for the last 20 years, we've done X, Y, Z. Right. And don't get me wrong, as you can see, we got a roof over our head, and you can't see what I can see, and you got a whole little office set up. It's not like we're destitute. Right. But at the same time, we've worked really hard for other people for a lot of years. Right. And the 401ks, yes, those are great. And when you leave, they give you that check, and it's just not a lasting thing. But when you're investing in things, when you let's just be honest, most of us, our job is not really our passion. Mm. Our job is our means to an end, and the end being taking care of ourselves, taking care of our family, paying our bills. But there's like something else, people be wanting to do.
Right.
Like you can work a job
Right.
and do that too.
Right.
And you never know, like even if you did it, that extra like even if it only brings in, let's say $50 a month, your passion, whatever it is, right? Bring in $50 a month.
Right.
By the time you get to 12 months, right?
Right.
Like that's $600 a year.
Right.
Let's move 600 over, I don't know, 10 years. That's an extra $6,000. And although it doesn't seem like a lot, if it's 6,000 untaxed dollars,
right.
like it starts to add up. And maybe you can build from the 50 to in 2 years, now it's making $100 a month. I mean, like we have to stop. The job ain't gonna cut it.
Right.
I mean, unless you are on TV, or you, into the sports or whatever. Like hitting the clock is not gonna, bring you a windfall. We have to, be doing other things. Look at the pandemic. Everybody was at home.
Right.
You know who made money during the pandemic? People that started going after stuff that they wanted to do for years,
right.
but didn't have the time,
right.
and didn't know where to start. When the pandemic hit and there was limited paychecks,
right.
they start doing it.
Right. Yep.
Like, I mean, it could be something as simple as writing a book. You
right.
go to work, write on weekends.
Right.
That one book could change your whole life.
Right.
Like sometimes it's the simplest things, the simplest gifts we have inside of us that we don't think about that because I gotta make money. I'm gonna make it. Like you're gonna go out there and get the paper, print your own, iron out. Like
right.
So we punch in the clock. I think we have to refocus. Back in the day, people grandmothers, they made money. They sold those Afghans.
Yep.
And they sold them. They made stuff like Bly soap, which was made from cooked in grease.
Right.
Like that, like old grease was a big component of making Bly soap that they sold to other families.
Right.
I mean, it was the little things, the little extras that they did to make money. And no, I'm not telling you not to sell Bly soap. Like, I'm just saying, it could be that little passion, that little thing you want to do on the side that puts your family in a better position.
Right.
I don't think it's always at the end of a time.
Because, and if you, you good. Because that really transitions into, it's not about making millions, but if your Bly soap business covers your paycheck, then you have more time to spend with your family. You have more time to do the things that help your community. You can go to city council meetings. You can go to school board meetings. You can be in places where decisions are made that we miss out on because we're at work. We can be in the places because a lot of things happen between 8 and 4, in our communities that we miss out on. Right. A lot. We miss. Listen, there's so much happening. And you're like, oh my goodness, this has been going on while I'm at work, Right. So, so starting something that you get the most control over, like, some of the greatest things are like the Lyft and the Instacart and having an opportunity to make money on your time, and then when things that are important are happening, you can just be there. Now you don't have to battle with trying to sign off or get your time off request in, and someone can hit you with a last minute, like, hey, I forgot to tell you, but tomorrow we got this important something, like, cool. I just won't do, like I can rearrange my schedule because you have more control. So it's important that that you don't get caught up, So the main part of this conversation is just you can't make money your total focus. Make money is a resource. The Bible says money answers all things. So use money as a resource and not just a lifestyle, if that makes sense. Money pays for things, money pays for your home and things like that, but don't chase the resource. Start creating ways to get more of that resource so that you can begin to stay focused on your community, stay focused on your family, stay focused with your children. Because like this pandemic has shown, the job is not guaranteed. And as we see, Delta's flying in. And it's not going to be, it looks like it's about to shut us down or change something.
It has landed.
Right. So it's having an effect on everything. You never know what other virus or whatever may happen. You have to be prepared for these switching or changing of situations, And like I said, a job is, you got to look at it as a resource. So don't get so caught up in that one space that you feel like that's your purpose. That's not who you are. That's just what you do, and it's temporary. You switch over, you can do other things. So stop making money your focus, whatever your purpose, your goal is. And if you're in a relationship, in a marriage, make sure you have make sure you have the conversation. You make sure you have the conversation. Right. See, I know, because I want to see my baby so bad. Right. And if you get control of your time, and like I said, as a disclaimer, I ain't told anyone to quit their job.
Yeah, because
don't say that.
Ain't no room over here. You ain't got nowhere to live.
Right. But having a conversation before you start your journey, having a goal, having a purpose, like, okay, I want to achieve this. It's going to take this. So what do I need to do to get to that space? But then you got to maintain it. What do I got to do to maintain it? And then count up the cost. And because we don't count it up, we just know what we want. And we sacrifice everything to get it. Now we got to sacrifice everything, right, to keep it.
Nothing.
And then you don't ever get to enjoy it because you're always at work. Right.
And you angry.
Right.
Because you just jumped out there.
Right. And you feel like the stuff was enough. And it's not. It's not about the stuff. It's not about the stuff. It's about family. It's about community.
Right. But if you want a bigger house.
Yeah.
I think you deserve a bigger house. That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, it's important that we find a way to get the resource without sacrificing your life.
Absolutely.
So not to say you can't have it, but you just got to find a way to get to it without sacrificing everything. That's the goal. That's the key. That's the message. All right. You got anything to share? So silly. All right. So we appreciate you guys rocking and hanging. Thank you for coming in. Make sure you join our text community. Text LWN to 84576.
Yes, and tomorrow is my last day on duty. I'm firing myself from Brothers of Legacy. I've been a great stand-in. I applaud all my hard work and all my efforts. I thank you. I thank him. But tomorrow's it for me, and I'm out. This bright sun in the morning.
In the morning?
Yeah. This ain't really what destined me to be.
This ain't destined for you to be.
Bright lights, big camera, too much. Know your area, people. Know your area.
There you go. Come on, everybody. No, Sam. No.
Okay, stop.
Don't do it.
Hi, Elix.
Don't do it. All right.
Listen, if I worked too hard was a person, it would be Elix Skipper.
Right. Right.
He is the definition of I work too hard and I work too much. And he's probably trying really hard to get a message in right now, but I love you.
Oh, thank you, Mama McCory. Thank you for that.
Oh, thanks, Mama. You so sweet. But I'm leaving.
Appreciate it. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Freestyle Friday. So we're going to make some things happen, have some fun. So hard. All right, guys. We'll see you in the air. Hold on. Not true, but I need your help.
Oh, no.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the morning. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for hanging. Make sure to sharing is caring. All of my replay peoples that watch in the background that I know see this show, I appreciate you as well.